Hello everybody, I think we might be live, and if we're not, then I've done the technology wrong somehow. It's so nice to see you. Here we are. Well, here I am in sunny northern Scotland, and I am going to be taking you through some exciting things in Consonance today. We've got a new splash screen and everything. Here we are, we're doing a live stream. So, what are we going to look at today? Well, let's take a look, shall we? So, we are going to be adopting a new approach for this year's live streams. We are going to be doing the same thing every week, and starting with task of the week. It's really great being able to see everyone's messages coming through to us, to get a sense of what you're doing, what the pressures are, what the exciting new events are that you're trying to support. So I'm going to try and reflect some of those back in looking at the tasks that you're doing and seeing if we can find some smoother ways through them. So we'll be looking at task of the week. Next up, we'll be looking at reporting spotlight. So as you know, we've got a new way of doing reports in Consonance, and I'm going to pick off an interesting report every week, and we're going to go through some of the ways that you can interrogate your data, and really make the most of having it all in one place and then being able to express it all in interesting ways. Little spelling based pun here. I'm going to be taking a real life support ticket, completely anonymous obviously, and letting you know how we solved it. It's going to be quite a straightforward one this week, but I hope this is a challenge to you to send through some interesting support tickets so that we can share how we solve them. And then we're going to be talking each week about what's new as well, and maybe what's coming up and what we're changing, or what we're keeping the same. So let us crack on then with our task of the week. What will it be this week? Oh, I can hardly wait. It is making a custom report. So let's go over to Consonance and have a look at this. I'm pretty sure that you do this quite a lot, but it doesn't hurt to take things from the top every now and again. You can watch how I create a custom report. Maybe I'll learn something from you if you let me know. Maybe you'll learn something from how I do it. So let's start at the home page, and we're going to go straight away, I think, to reporting. So I've clicked on the navigation here. I could simply click on reporting here, but if I momentarily forget that the word is reporting and I'm thinking, gosh, there's all of these options on the menu, where do I want to go? If you type in search, that's like a thesaurus. It's going to whittle down the options in the menu here, and you'll notice that I didn't type reporting, I typed search. So this is going to look up some usual suspects for the words that we might be expected to see in there, and you're going to be able to have that whittled down. So that's quite handy. So another example, just while we're here, plans. You might think, oh, I can't remember what consonance is. It might be P&L. Well, there we go. Type in P&L, you'll go straight to plans. And you can use the keyboard to navigate. You can use the mouse as well. But anyway, back on task, we're going to go to reporting. Actually, while we're here, if you use reporting a million times a day and you can't bear to move your mouse that far, which is fair dues, then click on reporting, and you're going to be able to see it lined up there. So we go to reporting, and here we are on the reporting area. Now then, I am going to have a look and see which report we might want to look at. And we'll go to high margin fantasy, because we're going to be able to use any of these searches to produce an export. Now I'm just going to, just in case there's a terrible problem going on with the live stream, I'm just going to check my message because I just felt something ping on my wrist. This modern world. I can only see you and we can't see the screen. I should just sort of jazzily, oh dear, move around, shouldn't I? Wonder how we make that happen. There's me, there's the screen. Okay, this is ridiculous. I'm talking through the computer. Lisa, can you ping me on Slack to say if you can see the screen yet? Can you see the screen on the live screen? Lisa Tom is typing. Oh, live demos, eh? It's very exciting. No. Okay. Well, what we're going to do is hope that you can see that screen there. Hope it's not just my face. Maybe that's worked. Maybe you can now see the screen. If it's been my face doing this the whole time along, then what I'm going to do is just go back and say, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing Task of the Week, Reporting Spotlight for our own correspondence. What's new? And here we are doing Make a Custom Report. And we're back in the room. You see, I'm out of practice. This is the trouble. Oh, dear. So, as I was saying, we are going to be making a custom report. And we can do that from any of the reports that we set up. So here I've done a report, and it's a search where the category codes begin with FM. It's the publication dates of a particular date range. It's price amount of £12, and I've made sure to say that it's pound sterling at the bottom because that's what I care about. The report by default is looking at measurements, but we can take the results of this search and do pretty much anything with it. And in the sense of creating a custom report, there are two ways to do this. The first is to have a look at the lists area, and within lists I can look at a product custom report, and whatever this thing for Tim was that I did sometime, I'm going to be able to see these results on the report that is the thing for Tim. So this is a report that I've set up separately. All of my different reports are here. If I want to export that in the usual way to a spreadsheet, then I can go to Batch Actions and I can run my product custom report, and that's going to be able to do the same thing. Run a custom report for my 49 products, and that's going to ping up momentarily. So that's all really super and helpful. But what happens if I have got the results of my report there? It's all looking great, but I would like to change the columns. And so what we can do is go over to the custom report area and just revise how we change custom reports. So I'm going to go to my search menu because it's easier to type than move the mouse. I'm going to use the keyboard to navigate to custom reports, hitting enter there. And let's create a new custom report, shall we? So I'll add a new custom report, thing for YouTube, since that's where we are currently. And when this custom report loads, I'm going to be able to edit it and add some columns. Now, what I tend to do at this point is have the spreadsheet that I need open, because it's usually, I'm doing a submission for a promotion, or I'm doing some sort of spreadsheet that needs to go to the distributor for some arcane reason. So I normally have the spreadsheet that I need to get my data into the format for, and I'll step through it and almost copy and paste the columns. But they often come down to the usual suspects, don't they? Of having an ISBN 13, maybe the title, maybe I'll have the pub date, and then I'll have it for the print pub date, I guess. And so using this filter at the top here is really handy, just to be able to whittle this down, because there are sort of 700 odd records you can use. So scrolling down, I'm going to see all of the options I could have. Let's pop in publisher and imprint there. Pub status doesn't hurt. Gosh, lots of different things, and pub data in a few different ways of expressing them there as well. So that's quite lovely. I'm going to save that, and so that's my thing for YouTube all set up. Right, let's go back to the report and see if we can use that. So back to reporting. Let's go to here. And now when I produce this report, it's going to see the columns that I have just had hanging around. So thing for YouTube, and there are my columns that I've just set up, all with the, in that order that I set them up in, which can of course be dragged and dropped. I can copy that to the clipboard, or I can download that as a CSV. But it's a really malleable way of really being able to set up your own list pages. The thing I always do at this point in creating a custom report is save it as something so I can come back to it. So I'll save it as my YouTube thing, but you might want to save it as, weekly editorial report or something meaningful, so that you can come back and find it, and optionally duplicate it or run it every week, or use it as the basis for further investigations. So I've done this report here. I know these columns are rather useful, but I'm going to be able to switch up all of these different search conditions and really have it as this malleable way of reporting. So that's really nice. And there are some other ways that we can make that report even more fruitful. I can whittle down my results if I want to. So I'll go to refining my results, and I can say, well, let's only have these. You see I've selected those on the left there. I'll restrict it to those. So now I've got my 4 reports, and now I can see those 4 as just a little list there. So rather than having to go to a separate page, you're able to express your data in list forms like this in a really kind of flexible way that will unfold as your day unfolds. So so we have looked at custom reports there. That's our task for the day. I'll download that CSV, very nice. I'll be able to pick that up and send it on to whoever needs to get my interesting information there. Great. So let us go back to our list of things that we're going to be covering today. Since we're talking about reports anyway, what is going to be in the reporting spotlight? And today we're going to be talking about measurements. Now, I've put this one in because it's a really new report, and it's a little bit different to the normal types of report that you'll be used to. Bringing up this display again, looking at these reports here, these are lists. They're lists of contributors, lists of subjects, lists of products and contacts, and then alternatively, they're batch actions that affect those lists. So we've got exports, and we've got doing some bulk data changes, and that's all really useful, and it's all where you're looking at a row that appears, and one of the rows is equal to one of the actions that's going to happen. But if you cast your eye over here onto the left under overviews, where historically we've had results overview, now we have got this thing called print book measurement overview, and if I select that, we're going to be seeing a different way of looking at data. So you'll notice that to start with, we're not seeing the title of the product or the title of a work or anything really. We're seeing a product form code, and it's the product form code here that is an indication as to what's going on. And this is an overview, like an aggregation report. And as the verbiage here says, it summarises the number of print books with particular measurements. So every time Consonance identifies this sort of set of data that's the same, it's added it to a single row here. If I scroll to the right, you'll see that there's a count in this last column of the number of products. So there's one product that has these measurements. Then there's two products that have the measurements on the next line. And then there's one for each of the others. Because we're in report land, I can rerun this to get a little bit more of an interesting amount of data. So let's take those ISBN restrictions off, and let's have a look at the 26 results that come back. And again, like we've got 10 products where there are no measurements, but there is the paper over boards book covering data. And so that really gets to the heart of why we've put this particular display in, and why we're going to be putting in more displays that are quite similar to that. This is a quality control tool. So you're going to be able to come here for either all of your products or a subset, or your front list, ones that are really important to you at the moment, or ones where they might have a particularly interesting format. And you're going to look at your data, and it's going to really help you see and have this data jump out and say, well, we have got some work to do here because these don't have any measurements at all, and they have this paper over boards. This next line down, no measurements at all, no other information, and I suppose at least there's only one product suffering from this parlous state. But it's just really interesting. What's this 6th one here? 6 products in the system have got a printed dust jacket as a feature, and they're 198 by 129. So that's possibly okay, but I would really like to see a little bit more information marrying these measurements here to some more Onyx information. So scrolling down, we can see, you see that's more like it. How many products is in this row down here? 2 products are down as B format paperback, which is B105 in Onyx speak. It's 198 by 129 mil. The inches look correct as well. So, at a glance, I'm thinking, well, at least there's 2 products that look all right. So that is the print book measurement overview display. And as I say, it sits under overviews on your display or action chooser. And it's a new type of display that we're doing to provide an additional quality check. We should just look at the alternative quality checks while we're here. On the menu, we can go straight to metadata checks and have a look to see another way of getting a sort of an insight overview into any of these any pieces of data that are suspect or looking a bit strange, or maybe may have not been important at one point, but are feeling a bit more important now. So this is a really nice way to have a look at some of the data looking really good, lots of imprints present, but there's always something, isn't there? So nice to be able to use these metadata checks to start to drill down into why have we got books that don't have a time qualifier present, even though the theme of subject codes suggest that they should, and so forth. So you can dive in, and that's your weekend's work sorted, I suppose. Great. So that was Report Spotlight of the week. Completely thrilling. Now, what's next up on our agenda? It is from our own correspondence. So, little glimpse behind the scenes, I suppose. It's our daily work to turn up, see what messages people have sent us. We use a support ticket help desk tool, so any emails that you send us or any messages through the Consonance interface come into our respective inboxes, and we pick them up, and sometimes they're kind of a training requirement. We haven't communicated to you how to do something. Other times it's a request for help with some data or for some new business venture that you're doing. Other times it's a more involved problem, perhaps with sending data to a third party whose rules might be different to other people's rules. So we have all of these different messages coming in all the time, and each week I think I'm going to, as I say, anonymously pick one out that we've solved and then share how we did it with you. So this week we are going to be looking at this question. We got a message in, and the person said, I'm sure there's a way, but can you tell me how to find all of the products where there's a missing cover? Because I think the question was, we're going to go live with a new ebook aggregator, and that's going to be in another month or so, but we need to make sure that we've got all of our covers approved and lined up. So this is a great example of how to use the search functionality. So we will do that right now. So let's start a new report actually. We'll do new report, and we'll call this one products where there isn't a cover or something like that. But first of all, I'm going to set up the search conditions. So I am going to type cover, COV, and that's going to whittle down the list of searches that I can look for. I'm going to select cover image, and then the next box along it'll change its content depending on the first box. So because of this particular kind of search, we know that this drop down here should either be exists or doesn't exist. And so I select doesn't exist, do a search, and that will return all of the products that don't have a cover. So it's kind of as straightforward as that, and it's actually an incredibly boring search to do because there's so many other things we could do, but just goes to show, doesn't it, that there are questions that matter to us every day, and that's a quick and easy way to solve it. It's all very well, of course, knowing that there are 71 products without a cover. You can guess what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go and choose a more useful display to really eyeball which ones they are. So I'll choose my products display, and I'll see that, right, okay, yes, these are ones that don't have a cover, so that's a bit of a problem. Great, so that is my interesting search for the week, done and dusted. So let's go back to our interesting layout here, and we're going to look at what's new. Now, what I've got on what's new today is quite a non-consonant specific example actually, but it is something that we've done in the last week, and it is ever more relevant, I think, given what we read in the press and the trade press about what other companies are suffering with. So what we're going to be looking at today very briefly is something called Cyber Essentials. And I'm going to take you over to our marketing website actually today to have a look at what that means. Consonance is chosen by the best publishers. That's you. So we're going to scroll down to the bottom of the page where you'll be able to see our new Cyber Essentials certificate. Click through on that. I think that'll take me to another website. And sure enough, we've got our Cyber Essentials certificate in place. And we got that certificate because we performed an audit on ourselves, and by ourselves I mean us at Consonance, how we work, how we've got our business set up, how we go about dealing with data. We performed an audit and then we communicated that to the inspectors, and our approaches met the certification requirements, and so we got our certificate. But the great thing was that the Cyber Essentials scheme provides us with the checklist of what we should really be thinking about and worrying about. So if I click on Apply for Cyber Essentials from our website here, and just say yes, okay, I do want to go there. This is a website, and it's promoted by the UK government, and it's in association with the National Cyber Security Centre. And I wanted to mention it because I really rate it. As I say, kind of nothing to do with Consonance, nothing to do with our code or our service really, but it's to do with all of the ways that we, keep ourselves and you safe to the best of our abilities. And it's really well structured. It's not too expensive, and I would recommend it to any business. And even if you don't want to go ahead and get the certification, you can download the questions that they ask. I just find it so helpful that then you've got a useful list of all of the things that you might want to consider. So, what are the benefits? You can prove to customers that you care about cybersecurity. It's a funny thing to want to prove, isn't it? That when you see in the papers the troubles that upstanding retailers and distribution centres and so forth are having at the moment, it's not really something that you want to prove. You just want to get it right, and stay ahead of new risks, and but I suppose it does help your brand, doesn't it? So you can download the question set, is what I'm saying, and you can use their Knowledge Hub to check that any of the arcane questions, check whether they're meaningful or not. And I thought I'd just share that this is the sort of price. I mean, it's not free, but it's commensurate with the value that you get from achieving this. So I will leave that to you, but I would really recommend that if you look in the paper and you think, gosh, I hope that doesn't happen to me, then this is a really pragmatic and light touch way to make sure that you're getting the basics in place. And then once you've got the basics in place, you can you've got more context to think, well, I might actually now want to upgrade to level 2. So, but I would definitely do that. Oh, and you get free cyber insurance as a result as well. So if you did get hit with some sort of attack, because you've taken sensible steps and made due diligence, you are covered for claims against that. Although obviously we hope that would never happen. Great, so those are all of the things I wanted to cover today, but whilst I've got you, I wanted to mention that we have had a really nice example this week of seeing how consonants can be used to communicate good news about all of the great work that everyone's doing, because of course one of our clients has won the International Booker Prize, so that's very impressive indeed. So what I thought we might do is perhaps hop into a particular work and see if we can understand how best to enter prize information should that happen to the rest of us as well, should we be lucky enough to get that to happen. So I'm going to go to a made-up book, Domestic Companion Animals, and we're going to go to the metadata page, and we're just going to enjoy living vicariously through and other stories and see what would happen if we indeed won the Booker, and what we would do within Consonance to add that information. Because the more people we can tell about our successes, the more we're spreading the marketing information, the more we're getting value out of our investment into producing such good books in the first place. So from the work overview page, I'm going to go to the metadata page, and just like we did with the menu, I'm going to type to filter the page. So rather than schlepping all the way through all of the regions, or rather even than using the scroll spy at the top here, I am going to type in prizes, and that whittles down all of the options on the page and gives us just this particular area. Now, Cats Throughout History tragically hasn't won any prizes yet, so we are going to add the first one. Click to add a prize, and here we are. It's a structured Onyx form, nothing particularly fancy going on. We can enter in a prize name, the prize year, the prize code, which is an Onyx controlled list, the territory if that's relevant, the jury if we know it, and the prize statement. And then if, for instance, the prize only applied to one of the particular products, like if it was a prize for the audiobook only, then we would make sure that the correct products that are relevant to this prize have been selected. But this one is relevant to all of the products, so we're just going to go ahead. First thing we need is a prize name. We'll call it the Mooker Prize, and the prize year is 2025. But if you're looking at your certificate in your hand and you're thinking, but it says 2024 to 2025, and you're sort of staring at the screen thinking, what do I put in? What do I put in? On every input field in Consonance where there is any confusion about what it might be, click on the little helper icon there, and whatever we know about that will be communicated there. So, and this is a really interesting one actually for the prize statement. If we look down here, look at all this stuff that we know about this. It should not be treated as merely supplementary to other elements. So don't write in 2025 in the prize statement if you've just put in 2025 in the prize year. And, you know, there's all sorts of useful stuff about all of the other information is going to be put into a particular format in certain versions of Onyx. And if you put something in the prize statement, that's going to override this. So I would really get into the habit of sort of pausing and having a quick scamper through the help text that has been entered in by us. It's an amalgamation of wise insights from folks like Editor. It's an amalgamation of help text that comes from the Onyx documentation itself. So it's much less interruptive to click on the buttons here and see how we've sort of summarised it, rather than having to go and read the PDF somewhere else. So we can say Mooker Prize, we can say 25, we can say that we're the winner, but alternatively, you know, there might be other options there. We might have won it jointly, but there's always, you know, the information that the Onyx standard communicates to you, we will put in the drop downs like this. So have a read through and see what's what. If it applies to a particular territory, then we can say that. If we know the jury and so forth, and that's great as well. And then save it, and then we've got our prize there, and that's going to go out in Onyx, which is going to go to the distributors, which is going to go to the data aggregators, and this fabulous news is going to percolate throughout the land, and hopefully pick up the interest of buyers who are then going to know that it's a good read. So well done, and other stories. Congratulations to everyone involved, and it's a nice way to add to your metadata page as you go. So I think we have covered everything for the day. I think I've remembered how YouTube works. I'll play this back and I'll realise that there's no sound and you've just been listening to me doing that all the time. Please do write in, as they say, and suggest any ideas for what you might like me to talk about weekly on Thursdays. As we were looking at, you know, we looked at the different topics that we're going to cover. We've got, you know, a few potential offerings so far, which are the task of the week, any reports that you're really interested in, any particular real-world gnarly problems that you want us to solve, and then we'll be looking at any new features coming up. So this has been a sort of a taster, an introductory one, but we'll run to a bit more of an hour next time. So do write in with anything under these sort of topic headings that you want me to cover, and we will look forward to doing that. So thanks very much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, the buttons and everything, and we will be seeing you this time next week.